the Championship over Easter weekend, of course, with the games on Friday afternoon, and then yesterday on the Monday. We learn an awful lot more about who may get out the Championship, who may stay in it, who may drop out of it. Now, of course, at the right end of the table, Ipswich, they needed to get back to winning ways, and they did. Ipswich looking darn good. Leicester got back to winning ways after only one league win in 6. So now the 1, 2, 3 is Ipswich, Leeds and Leicester. Ipswich managed a 3-2 win with an absolute last gasp kick of the ball, and Kieran McKenna upbeat about the chance of going up.
We try our utmost to win every game. You know, we can't, and we don't put any extra onus on any game, because we've treated every game since the start of the season with the utmost respect. The players have put maximum effort into both the preparation and the performance, and we've done it for 40 games, and we can't do any more than that. So we can't, and we don't need to ramp this one up anymore. We don't need to do it on Saturday. We just need to stick to our process, prepare as well as we can, and go and give everything to the performance. And you know, it's worked for us so far. We're playing some really good football. We're picking up lots of points, and you know, we got some tough games to come, but we'll try and do the same.
I mean, you're a big fan of Kieran McKenna, am I right?
I think, yeah. I mean,
you think he's a nailed-on Premier League manager?
Yeah, Luke was laughing me out of the studio this morning because I said, as a Liverpool fan, even as an outside dark horse, I love his brand of football. I've been watching him since last year in League One. What he's done, I mean, you can say Ipswich are a big club, but they didn't go out and spend mega millions in the summer. They kept a large part of the squad, the team from League One, and the top of the Championship with 5-6 games to go. You know, and it's incredible, really. And it's not only that; it's not just his coaching and managing; it's the style. It's great to watch. If you watched that game yesterday, it was a great advert for our industry. It was non-stop. Russell does a great job at Southampton with his style. Then you got Ipswich with their style, with a counter punch in. And it was just a great last 20 minutes. It was an enthralling game to watch. And that's what you want to see. So yeah. I think he's destined for the top. I think he wins promotion with Ipswich this year. I think he's going to surprise people what he would do with them in the Premier League. And yeah, he is. Within 5 years, he'll be managing a top 6 club. And that's with all due respect to Ipswich. I love Mark Ashton and everything they've done there. But I don't think you can keep a guy like that down forever from going to a top club.
When you watch teams like that, Darragh, is there any way your boys could compete at that level?
Yeah.
Not at the moment, surely.
Well, you know, yeah, I mean, we finished, a few places behind Ipswich last year. And like I said to you, they're a brilliant team and a brilliant squad. But I do watch it and I go, you know, there is a chance for us, because it's not like Ipswich went out and spent $5 million a player. They were surgical in their transfer recruitment. Yes, they paid a few quid for a few of them and paid some wages, but they've put together a great squad. And a couple of the lads they've got in there, you're thinking they were in League One for a long time. Would they play at the Champ? And they've absolutely would have plumbed, just, you know, adjusted to it, no problem.
Mind you, Darragh, it's all about levels. I mean, last season, everyone was getting blown away by Vincent Kompany's Burnley. Up they come, and of course they found life harder than hard in the top flight. Yeah. It's all about levels, isn't it? You can get up, but it's what you do when you get up.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. You know, I always looked at Burnley and I thought the goals, that's where they might struggle, you know, and you always look at it and go, if they'd gone that bit further and got that goal scorer and maybe spent 25 million of all the transfers they did in the summer to add to what they had in the Championship, 25, 30 million, would that have been a difference maker? It would have been interesting to see. But that's football, that's the industry we're in. And you're almost writing Burnley off, Jim. You never know. There might be a miracle over the next 8-9 games.
Possibly. So let's say Ipswich go up.
Sure.
It's between Leeds and Leicester for the second automatic. Who do you take?
I think Leeds will win the league.
We think they'll win the league.
Oh, I think Leeds will win the league. Yeah.
Right.
I said again in my podcast. I said Leeds for me. They've been on fire, and I think they'll win the league. And I watched them again last night. They weren't at their best, and they still won. I think Leeds win the league. I hope Ipswich go second. We have a few hundred grand in a promotion bonus for Jack Taylor we sold to them, so I'm fingers crossed on that.
Of course.
Of course. I'm sorry, that's the game, that's the industry. And then I hope Coventry go up via the playoffs. So, because we just sold them a player in January and we got lots of nice add-ons in there as well for when they're in the Premier League. So,
there
you go.
Everywhere.
You got to look at it like that. Over the years, that for clubs like us, it's imperative. It's really important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
On Leicester, Darragh. Now, Leicester, as you know, were charged by the Premier League, referred to an independent commission for allegedly breaking spending rules during the last 3 seasons in the top flight. If they're found guilty, they could face a points deduction next season.
Sure.
Our FFP expert, you probably heard him, Stefan Borson, opened up a bit about that one.
Leicester City are captured by the old rules, and the old rules don't have the expedited timetable that the rules that came in after they were relegated. They have only just effectively fessed up their numbers for 22-23. They resisted showing the numbers to the Premier League, presumably because they say, well, they're not a Premier League club and therefore they don't need to. And it will be a sort of slower, probably a more tortuous legal battle that will resolve itself probably sometime in the middle of next season.
You know, you'd expect pushback from Leicester, and we got it in the form of a statement from the chairman Top in his programme notes yesterday. We will always respect our obligations to the rules of the game and governing bodies whose responsibility is to enforce them by the right bodies and at the right time. Please be assured that we will continue to act as we always have in the best interest of the club and the fans. But here's the thing, though, Darragh. I mean, will promotion for Leicester, if they get it, leave a sour taste in the mouth amongst their rivals? Because here they are, and they're staving it off. They say, well, we'll fight it. You would do the same as Top.
Absolutely.
Push back.
All day long.
With real robustness.
What's that saying in life? Ask for forgiveness down the line, you know what I mean? Do it first and ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if they start next season with minus points, is that fair to the others?
They're not worried about next season. They just want to get back to the Premier League. And I think they get back to the Premier League and they take a Forest point situation where they're 3 or 4 points knocked off. You know, Leicester probably fancy their chances of staying up and dealing with that. Is it fair to the club that gets beaten? You know, let's say Southampton get beaten by Leicester or whatever else. You can talk about lawsuits again and all that kind of stuff. And football's been a bit like that the last couple of years. Do you know what I mean? With a lot of lawsuits with clubs and settlements and whatever else. There's too much grey area here. I think the EFL and the Premier League need to come up with one size suits all. And they need to have rules specified. And people are finding loopholes. And those at the top of the Premier League and EFL need to close the loopholes. So this doesn't happen again. And there is no grey area.
Do you agree with the rules full stop? Points deductions over fines?
Yeah, I mean, do I agree with a club like Nottingham Forest who got promoted and were trying to spend to stay in the Premier League getting fined or points deduction? No, I don't. Do I agree with maybe other clubs who've been abusing it for 4, 5, 6 years in a row? Yes, I agree with points deductions for that. I don't agree. I'm with the Simon train of thought. When you buy a club or a club gets promoted, there should be a little bit more latitude, you know, a little bit more forgiveness given as you go about rebuilding and keeping yourself in that league. So I think that's really unfair and harsh.
But Darragh, I know you. If Leicester went up at your expense,
I would of course threaten legal action. I wouldn't probably take it. I'd probably want a cheque. So, and Leicester might be willing to write that cheque. And that's what often happens. We got stuffed a couple of years ago in the Championship with, you know, a club who broke the rules over and over, and they're still breaking the rules now in League One. And we ended up missing out and getting relegated by a couple of points where this club had a suspended points total by 6. And we actually have a legal right. We could sue them for a lot of money for what happened. And because of what was going on with that club. And
you're talking about Wickham?
No.
Who are you talking about?
I don't want to go into it, but the reality is I've got all these legal things in front of me that we could have sued the arse off them, won comfortably, got a settlement, and I said no. And the reason I did it was because that club's in enough trouble and their fans are going through a lot of nonsense. Do you know what I mean? So I left it alone.
Should we believe you? You've really been good to that club by not doing it?
100%.
You want to do it?
No, I looked at it and I thought, you know what, I'm moving on. Because at the end of the day, you can spend a lot of time thinking about ifs and what ifs and all of that, and there's just no point in looking back.
It's out there now. You may as well tell us who it is.
Well, it's not going to take rocket. If you knew anything about football, you'd already know.
Oh, lovely. All right.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.